there, man. I don't know. Saw Nick man run out there. I don't know if he Chuck Mangione gonna be coming down here.
Sir, you are going to have to speak more slowly. I cannot understand you.
Dang, make low mark. That talk about them old that it blue.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you." If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better with Mentos fresh. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker.
Oh, yeah, you got to add yourself when you're deciding to do a show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of LegionCast. And what we're going to be taking a look at is, that's right, the former president was in Chesapeake, Virginia. Now, we had a great show last night. We hit record numbers on the viewers. It was great. It was a lot of fun. You could see that certain platforms were not censoring things, like Twitter and Rumble. But this is basically YouTube was pushing things down for last night. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at this rally in Chesapeake, Virginia. So thank you everybody for being here. Even if you're just lurking, just listening behind the scenes. Last night was a 3-hour live stream. It's crazy. Didn't expect to go that long, but we're here for one reason only. Thank you to the chat. Thank you all. Zillich says, is that what happened? Yes. It's always my fault. Trust me.
Him defend his atrocious record. It's not defend.
Oh my goodness. Last night was so hard to watch.
I don't care who you were. You could be the late, great Clarence Darrow. Has anyone ever heard of Clarence Darrow? He was known as quite a good debater. Not as good as your governor, but that's okay. Hello, Governor. I can't miss this guy in the crowd. But his son's much better looking than him. Joe Biden's problem is not his age. It's not his anything, really. He's got no problem other than it's his competence. He's grossly incompetent. You know, they keep saying old. I know people that are much older than him that are doing unbelievable things, making a fortune. I knew a man that at 79, he was never a success, and he made $1 billion and a half from 79 to 92. And that's what it is. It's not his age, it's his competence. He's not respected anywhere in the world. Our country is being laughed at all over the world. Biden is using the weaponization of his Justice Department.
I would just like to say, look at this chat go. It's great to see. I'm gonna make it bigger though, so we can see a little bit more of this. Yeah, Zilla says it was brutal. It was like watching. It was like watching Kane beat up Kansai from the old WWF, like little. I mean, these were dudes. They're like 5'4" dudes. Like it was horrible. It's horrible.
The FBI, local district attorneys and attorneys general to try and win an election against his political opponent. That happens to be me. Do you know who I am? Something that actually was unthinkable in our nation, but which is very common in third world countries or in banana republics. That's what he's doing. He's using law enforcement to try and hurt his political opponent. Every one of those things last night, you saw that, was all started by this guy, this crooked guy. And not only crooked, I mean, just so bad in so many ways. He's killing our country. He's incapable of winning based on his far-left policies of open borders, massive tax increases, the Green New Scam. That's a windmill on every corner, most of which don't work. And things like putting men in women's sports, really not a great idea. As every American saw firsthand last night.
I'm just gonna say this. It's a very diverse crowd behind him. I'm just saying. It's a very diverse crowd behind him.
This election is a choice between strength and weakness, competence and incompetence, peace and prosperity, or war or no war. They like a war. They love wars. You know, they love killing people. It's so wonderful. You know, I'm the only president in many, many decades that didn't start a war. I finished one. I beat ISIS in record time. As soon as I left, we had the situation where Russia went into Ukraine. They would have never done that. And where Israel's attacked. And then we had inflation. And then we had that horrible, horrible event that took place in Afghanistan. The worst, I think the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And it's a choice, though, between a president who puts America first or a train wreck who puts America last. They put America last. Actually, the Democrats put America last. You take a look at that. Look at a guy like Senator Schumer. I've always known him. I've known him a long time. I come from New York. I knew Schumer. He's become a Palestinian. He's a Palestinian now. Congratulations. He was very loyal to Israel and to Jewish people. He's Jewish, but he's become a Palestinian because they have a couple of more votes or something. Nobody's quite figured it out. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for failure, surrender, and disaster for our country. A vote for your all-time favorite president, President Donald J. Trump. Is a vote for stopping Joe Biden's inflation, stopping the border invasion, and very simply making America great again. It will make America great again. You see these beautiful women. I'm not allowed to use the term beautiful as a politician. In fact, it could be the end of my career. If Glenn ever ran against me, he'd say he called women beautiful, and that could be the end of my career. But they're beautiful. What am I going to do? I can't lie. But you see these beautiful women up here? They come from a place called North Carolina. We all love North Carolina.
What wasn't Biden in North Carolina? Was it North Carolina? I can't remember. Because the shills on Twitter were again shilling about it.
And this is their 127th rally.
Damn.
And it's hard to believe. I seldom see their husbands, but they're happily married. I said, are you all happily married? They love their husbands. You love your husbands? They put up with a lot, huh? No, they're very happily married women, but it's 127. But I'll tell you, front row Joes even have that. They're about 200 and something, right? They must have made a lot of money somewhere along the line. Do my people treat you good? Huh? They better treat you good. Front row Joes, they become very famous. The question every voter should be asking themselves today is not whether Joe Biden can survive a 90-minute debate performance, but whether America can survive 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden in the White House. In fact, I don't know if we can really survive 5 more months. This is the most dangerous time in the history of our country, in my opinion, and we have a transition period because hopefully there has to be a transition. We've never been so close to World War III before. And if it happens, it will be a war like no other. This because of the threat of certain types of weapons. We don't even want to mention the word, but because of the type of weapons that you're talking about today, and I know them better than anybody. You know, I built our military. I totally rebuilt our military. I know more about weapons than just about anybody. And when you look at the incredible destructive power of these weapons, this will be a war like no other. This will not be two army tanks running against each other and shooting. This is going to be something the likes of which we've never seen. And we have a man who's grossly incompetent heading up our nation, and he's competing against Putin and President Xi of China and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. He's competing against people that are at the top of their game, and he was never really at the top of his game. He was never very good, but now he's really not good. Last night was a defeat not only for Biden, but for the entire radical left Democrat Party and the fake news media.
CNN turned on Joe Biden last night. CNN. And then you had shills like Brooklyn Dad coming out saying, I'll never watch another bullshit CNN presidential debate ever. Like, the shills were pissed. CNN went 180 with the majority of them, and at least on Joe Biden. Of course, they stuck with the usual with this guy, but it was wild, man. It's been a wild 24 hours.
Who have been lying to the American people as our country was being destroyed. The fake news media, look at all of them back there. Look at all of them. That's a lot of cameras. That's a lot of cameras. That's a lot of camera power. The Joe Biden on stage yesterday was the same Joe Biden who gave us open borders, crushing inflation, rampant crime, 2 new wars, a disastrous Afghanistan embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And the
Village, real quick. Yeah, it's super sketchy. They all turned on him. I think that was planned. I definitely think that yeah. Why else? Why did they let him debate? I don't know. He didn't seem coherent. Because we've seen him, right? The last State of the Union where they pumped him up full of whatever, and he spoke for like, I don't know, 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. And he's kind of like a rocket to the moon, and then all of a sudden you see it waning out and slowly dipping. Last night, I don't know what the fuck that was. It was the elder abuse, to be honest. What's up, Matt? How you doing? He says, yeah, this was planned. They let him debate so they could try to replace him at the convention. That's a bold strategy, especially because there are people, they're the shills on Twitter who are screaming the opposite. So, oh no. Yeah, the drugs wore off. Yes, they did. I don't know what that was last night. It was
international humiliation. Think of it, one after another. International humiliation, one after another. Nobody respects him. Foreign leaders don't respect him. You know, we put up $124 billion more given to Ukraine than Europe. Now, Europe is a lot closer. We have a thing called an ocean in between us, right? So no matter how you cut it, it's got to be more important. Why is it that we're not equalized? Why is it that they put up $124 billion, our people, these people in Washington that don't know what the hell they're doing? You know, I stopped it with NATO. We were spending almost 100% of the money for NATO. And I went in my first meeting, I realized, I said, you know, they're not paying their bills. They're delinquent. My second meeting, I said, you got to pay. And they said, well, what would happen if we don't? Then we won't defend you against Russia. And the next day, money came in by the billions. You never saw money come in so fast, Len. The money was pouring in. And I took a lot of heat, Michael. Oh, there's Mike Waltz. I took...
That's not a hot take, dude. It's like, look, NATO was formed to fend off the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union hasn't been a thing since 1989. So maybe need to revamp things here. The United States shouldn't have to pay for everything, including the Paris Climate Accords and the UN Yes, the United States pays the majority of the bill for the UN, NATO, and the Paris Climate Accords. We also paid Iran under Barack Obama and Joe Biden to delay making a nuclear bomb. Like, we'll give you this money, just don't do it. And they're going to take that money and go, okay.
He knows better than anybody on this subject. He's the all-time. But am I right? The money came in like at a level that was never seen. Hundreds of billions of dollars poured in. And then I took heat from the press because they said, no, I will not defend you if you're not current. And they said, well, that's not very nice. I said, it's not nice. Now, if I said I will, they wouldn't have paid, right? I suspect. But I took a lot of heat. But the fact is, the Secretary General called it the greatest. He's never seen anything like it, because Bush would come in, make a speech and leave. Obama would come in, make a speech and leave. And then I came in and I didn't make a speech. I just said, these guys aren't paying their bills. They're not paying their bills. I don't want to make a speech until they pay their bills. But they asked me, will you defend us if we don't pay? I said, no, I will not defend you. We're not stupid anymore. And $400 billion came pouring in. You never saw money pouring in so fast. The whole world should know that while Biden is the worst president in the history of America, our country is going to be strong again, and it's going to be very soon. I want the enemies to know that, because we have a 5-month transition period, and I want the enemies to know, don't play around with us during this 5-month period. Don't play around.
Look at all the mug shots. Never. Oh, man. Also, at the same time, yes, you need to be tough with your allies, but you also need to be tough with your enemies, because if an ally thinks you're weak and that you'll pay more for them, they're going to do it.
It's only for them. It's also in all fairness, we have enemies on the outside, China, Russia, North Korea, enemies, but they're not really enemies if you have a smart president. If you have a smart president, they're not enemies. You'll make them do great. We had no problems. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars, and it was so because they respected our country. Thank you very much. He said, they respected you. Thank you. Stand up, please. Who said that? Stand up. Because they respected us. You said it better than I could. Thank you. I plagiarized. Thank you. No, they respected us. There was no games. But we have the enemy on the outside, and you can do great things with them. And then we have a worse enemy. I call it the enemy from within. These are the sick people, the socialists. Remember I said, America will never be a socialist country. I was right. It skipped over socialism, went directly into fascism and communism. It never stopped at the station called socialism. It went worse. And that's a bit.
Just for the record, too, for anybody rewatching this or currently watching, the majority of you currently watching know this. Fascism is silencing your political opponents. That's fascism. You know who loved to do that? Mr. Mustache Man and the Nazis. Also, Vladimir Putin silences his political opponents. We never used to do that in the United States, but now we do it under the whole under basically hate speech, misinformation, stuff like that.
Big problem that we have, but I think you're starting to see the end of that.
Yes, Zillage. Literally right as in the middle of me saying that, all that is happening now with the Democrats. Yes. Because they have been taken, classic liberals have been taken over by far left weirdos. And they literally, well, not literally, metaphorically, they have a gun to these people's backs, and they're like, you're gonna do this, or we're gonna ruin your life. That's what happens when you have the jackboot thugs on the ground. The brown shirts the Nazis had. That's how they took power. Then once they took power, they had to get rid of the brown shirts, the jackboot thugs, who went around beating people up, burning cities, stuff like that, breaking windows. Who does that sound like? Oh, Antifa. The group called Antifa, anti-fascist. Weird.
And it's been starting for a while now with us, but I think last night was a big moment for people with common sense that want to see America be great.
Matt says real quick, yeah, Matt says real quick, almost every fascist in history, including Hitler, has been a socialist. Ding, 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 ding. Sargon said that the classic liberalism was a mistake because it opened the gateway to these hard leftists. Yeah, it did, because once you become, I'm not going to say it was a mistake, but the thing is that classic liberalism, being somebody progressive, being somebody who wants to advance, it started out as a different movement, right? Uh, it went into, you can never be progressive enough. So it's like going, we have to shift the goalpost, like going, well, we want this. Okay, great, we got this. Well, now we want this. Okay, well, now we got this. Well, now we want this. And it's like, and people are like, oh, I don't know about none of that. And people are like, oh, what are you racist? You homophobic? Were you Nazi? And then people go, whoa. Like these terms have meaning. And now the terms have zero meaning. So, yeah, to an extent, the classic liberals didn't push back when they should have. Because classical liberalism and conservatism used to be able to, maybe we don't always agree, but we could discuss it and talk about it and still be friends. Now you have the weirdos who decide to, if you're not pro this, you don't support. I mean, remember the Summer of Love? They had buildings that said, "This is a black business. Please don't burn it down," or it would just say like "black business, don't burn." That's a black business owner boarding up his shit like the hurricane's coming, saying, "Please don't burn this down." The LA riots for Rodney King. How many black businesses were burned down? There's a classic interview of a black man who has business was burned down, and he was in the streets in tears, and he was chastising these people. Yes, so they've lost their sting. They don't mean anything. If somebody calls you, a racist in today's world, the majority of the time it's because you said something they didn't like. And they're like, "Oh, well, you racist? You homophobic?" And it's like, no, I have gay friends, which ironically I do. I have gay friends from the military when "don't ask, don't tell" was the thing. We all knew they were gay. Guess what? Nobody cared.
Again, want to put America first. Many people are saying that after last night's performance that Joe Biden is leaving the race. But the fact is, I don't really believe that, because he does better in polls than any of the Democrats they're talking about. You've seen that, Glenn. These polls come out with some of the names they're being, like Gavin Newsom. He can't run California. He's one of the worst governors.
Oh my God, he's got a thing for Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newscum? Yeah, well, Gavin Newsom is scum, so that's good, dude. That's good.
No, he's a bad governor. He can't run. He can't run California. People are leaving. One of the most beautiful places on earth in terms of weather, in terms of everything else. You can't do any better than California. He's doing a terrible job. But he gets up and he says, "Oh, California's doing great."
Oh, Matt, come on. I didn't know that. Damn it. Why am I so behind the trends? I suspect it is Gavin or Big Mike. I would think they want Gavin. I think that's what CNN, in my opinion, was kind of pushing for last night, is because Gavin Newsom he's suave, he knows how to speak, he's got nice hair, which is weird. And there are people in California. The reason that he didn't get recalled is because they're like, oh well, I mean, he's nice to look at. He speaks well. He's got nice hair. It's like, what? He sucks. California's a shithole. I'm okay. Like, I don't get it.
Pa, 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 like a machine gun. Pa, 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 pa. But it's doing bad. People are leaving so fast, and he'd be easy. But he's got lousy poll numbers, and you take a look at some of the others. Then, of course, Kamala is somebody that will be on the scope. It might have been Joe Biden's single best decision, putting her as vice president. Might have been his best, because
If Joe Biden gets elected for a second term, I give it 8 months and you get President Kamala Harris. That is a bigger disaster than the doddering old man, because she should be competent, she should be coherent, but she laughs like a hyena at the weirdest stuff, and she speaks in circles.
nobody wants that. I do. I'd be very happy with that. But they don't poll as well as this guy. I mean, I don't want to speak against myself, but maybe, and they polled everybody. They polled Michelle Obama. She polls very badly. No, she polls terribly. Michelle Obama, people, they polled many people, and it's hard to believe, but crooked Joe Biden polls better than those people. So I don't know what's going to happen. I have absolutely no idea. I just know that we're going to make America great again. That's a good-looking group back there. Better looking than front row Joes. You know what happens? You think they don't have a good seat. They actually have the best seat. Because oftentimes...
Oh no, the camera buffered. Zilches, that's a relief. I thought Big Mike would have pulled high. Big Mike. Michelle Obama has said that numerously that she does not want to run for president ever. I think now that they did ask The Rock at one time if he wanted to run for president, and The Rock's like, no. What would be weird is that if one day The Rock decided to run for president, and then he, and again, a celebrity, as a media personality, and then he runs as a conservative like Trump did. Because look, Trump used to be beloved by these people. They're like, when he was in movies, he was a businessman, he did The Apprentice, he was funny, he was friends with all of them, and now they hate his guts. They hate his guts so much that, quite frankly, I don't think any presidential candidate in the history of the world has been hated this much by people who used to be friends with him. Celebrities. The Rock, I think he has become a secret Trump supporter. He has publicly said that endorsing Biden back in 2020 was a mistake. And look, I know that there are people who jumped on The Rock for that. Look, I kind of jumped on The Rock for that one too. There are people who said he was paid to do so, and that's quite possible because the Democrats love to get celebrities to endorse them. Look at Jack Black sucking on that knob recently, and he got destroyed for it. Am I gonna hold it against somebody for taking a paycheck, thinking they're doing the right thing for the right reasons? No, I'm not going to. I think you're a clown at the time you did it, but coming out publicly before WrestleMania to say that, quite frankly, that that was a mistake. It caused more division. I shouldn't have done that. I used my platform for the wrong reasons, and I'm not going to do that again. That shows human growth, and there are people that don't believe that that people can grow. I think that's disingenuous in my opinion. Look, and those are YouTubers that I still watch to this day because I think they have incredible taste. But even a great YouTuber is wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my friends. You can ask like Clifton or Anna or anybody who's been on stream with me. You know, they know that I'm wrong. So I think The Rock had a rude awakening after drinking the Kool-Aid. And now he's like, I won't do that again. But I could see a world where The Rock one day, maybe in 10, 15 years, decides to run for president when he's older and thinks that he can do kind of something similar to Donald Trump, maybe make things better, bring people together, you know. I mean, the slogan writes itself. The people's champ for president. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, all right, I'll stop talking.
The cameras are on them. The cameras aren't on you. And I'm making a speech, and they have all this stuff. It's all over the world, and a lot of them get picked. Would you like to come to Hollywood? You'd be amazed how many people. They see some of these beautiful faces, and they say, let's move them to Hollywood. They have the best seat. They don't know it, but they do.
Zillage says, I still don't trust him. And that's, dude, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if let's say in 4 years, you know, after Trump wins and then we do this all again in 4 years, The Rock decides to run, I'll be like going, that's what I'm saying, like 10, 15 years. You know, the Rock's in his 50s. I think it would make sense for like maybe in his 60s to kind of give it a shot. I think he will give it a shot, but I think he'll fall on a very different side, if you want my honest opinion. But again, I clowned The Rock when he made his statement. I was like, you got paid, dude. Got paid. You're allowed to have your own opinion, vote for whoever you want, but you done got paid because you done were on camera with them. You got paid. So that's dirtiness.
Okay, I don't want to point to too many of them. Get myself in trouble.
Matt says, the people's president. Finally, The Rock has returned to the White House. I'm going to tell that jabroni Putin, he'll probably be dead by then, but still, it's this great joke. I love it. To stop worrying about The Rock's pie and start feeding his own people. If The Rock runs, Joker voice may flee to... Oh no! Oh no, you didn't! Jesus! Oh shit! Dude, 33 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm literally clipping this and I'm playing this on Wednesday night. JV is his brain's gonna explode. Oh no, that was incredible. Matt, you vicious bastard. Get over that.
But remember, the biggest problem for our country is not Joe Biden's personal decline. It's that Joe Biden's policies are causing America's decline at a level that we've never seen before. That's why this November, the people of Virginia and the people of America are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Get out. We don't want you. You've been the worst president in the history of our country. We don't want you. Get the hell out of here. But we don't just need to...
I apologize. I was laughing so hard that I started coughing. I had to take a drink of water. Matt says Lillian Garcia would be hired as the Rock's pie-loving press secretary. I think Lillian would be good. Lillian, she's a gentle soul. She's it's hard to hate Lillian. Lillian Garcia is awesome. I love me some Lillian Garcia. I think Lillian Garcia is the female great goat of all time, and I think Howard Finkel is the male goat of all time for wrestling announcers. I'm sorry, ring announcers. Nothing was it, but actual announcers, commentators. Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross together were wildly good. Yes. I'm gonna have to remember that 33 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm gonna play that, and JV is gonna lose his mind.
Fire Biden. As you saw yesterday, the whole Democrat Party deserves to be voted out of office. You have some great people. You have some great people in this state. And the reason I'm honored to be with you, Governor, who's here, just made a really fantastic speech. I saw it coming in. I'm flying in on my plane. I'm watching him speak. I said, what a beautiful crowd that is. But he just made a great speech because what he says turns out to be right. He's got common sense. He's got great policy. He's got the policy that made America great. Now America is in decline because they have people that are going against those basic policies. But he's got the policies that made America great. And I'll call him up. I just said to him, do you want to come up? I know you just spoke for 45 minutes. Will you want to come up? And I said, come on up. So he's going to come up in a couple of seconds. As far as I'm concerned, he can say it all again. He can say it all again. But we're proud of him. He's done a great job. Time and again, Joe Biden revealed how extreme and divisive the radical left Democrats have become. Before your very eyes, Crooked Joe endorsed unlimited, extreme late-term abortion up to the moment of birth, and even after think of this, and even death after a baby is born. And I always am very clear about this. When I say the governor of Virginia, I always go back and say the former governor, because you don't want to be tied into this. But the former governor, I call him Michael Jackson. Remember? His wife saved him. He was going to moonwalk. He was trying to say why he wore blackface. And he was going to moonwalk across the stage. And that's when his wife finally put down her foot. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're already destroyed us. You've destroyed us. Don't do it. Remember, she stopped him because nobody can moonwalk like Michael Jackson, the greatest people. So this would not have been a pretty scene. But he said that, and you can see it. I mean, they have tapes on it. He said the baby is born. Yes, the baby is born, and then we make a decision on what to do with the baby. And there's some states that allow that. It's not even believable. But think of that. But Biden celebrates throwing his political opponents in jail. He bragged about surrendering our energy independence and all of the other things that he's done in favor of China and India and other countries. And he claimed that the strength of our economy comes not from hardworking Americans, but from illegal aliens, where almost all of our new jobs have gone to illegal aliens. You know that? And just remember I said this because this is a disaster waiting to happen. We're doing very well with the black and Hispanic vote. We're doing very well with the union vote. Like record numbers, because we've done a lot. We've done criminal justice reform. We've saved the historically black colleges and universities. We had great economic development programs with Tim Scott. Opportunity zones, it's called. It's probably the most successful opportunity. I mean, it's the most incredible thing. And that's gone largely to black, Hispanic people. It's been great. So we've done a lot. But the worst thing that's happening to black, number one, Hispanic, number two, unions, number three, is the millions of people pouring into our country. They're taking their jobs, and they're taking the black jobs. People that have had their jobs for a long time are losing their jobs. And Hispanic jobs, people that have had them for a long time, they're losing their jobs. And you know who else is the biggest?
Let me clarify this, since there are people on Twitter who are spurging. He's talking about jobs in low-income communities. Unfortunately, certain demographics live in low-income communities. It's just the way it is. I don't like it. The former president doesn't like it. That's what he's saying. But these people are like going, what did he say about black jobs? What's a black job? It's like people who live in a low-income community. They're importing people from the border, just letting them flow through. And they can pay these people less money than they pay Americans because these people don't have social security. They don't numbers. They don't have proper ID. It's literally a thing where it's like, oh, I'll pay you, I'll pay you $10 a day, to where the minimum wage, I don't know, 15, 14, whatever per state. And they pay these people who come across the border under the table and whatever. That's what he means. But of course, the media tried to twist this because the media is disingenuous.
Loser is going to be the unions. The unions, like the Teamsters, I have such respect for Sean. He's the head of the Teamsters. I don't want to throw around names, but he's a good man.
This is also one of the first time in history that actual union members are coming out on camera and saying no to the blue, yes to the red. Because again, this man is not classically what you would call a Republican. He's more conservative. I mean, he even leans a little bit liberal on stuff, which it's like he's kind of center right, and that's one reason they hate him. One reason these weirdos on both sides hate him, because he says the quiet part out loud. He's like, yeah, y'all are criminals. You're stealing from this country and you're running it in the ground on both sides. So they hate him.
And I don't know, I think, we're at 89% approval within the Teamsters union. And I use Teamsters when I build buildings in Manhattan. They do unbelievable. They take the concrete trucks and nobody can wheel a truck. These guys are incredible. And, maybe we get lucky. Maybe somebody's smart, when they have 89% approval and then they endorse, because for 50 years they endorse automatically. It's almost like automatic. They endorse the Democrat. But I think maybe the Teamsters go with us. When you have a vast majority on your side, and then the person that did it, Hoffa did it last time, and he ended up getting sort of thrown out of the union. But I think they have some good leadership. I think a lot of unions are coming our way. But these millions and millions of people that are coming from prisons and jails, there is a slight difference, okay? They're coming from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums like Silence of the Lamb. The press always says, why does he ramble about Silence of the Lamb, the late, great Hannibal Lecter? He'd like to have you over for dinner. Did you ever?
And there it is. The media is going to run with this. He was rambling. He was talking about. Matt says, after we took away the Democrat slaves, yes, because the South was Democrat. And when it was time to free the slaves, all the Democrats voted against it. Anyway, they replaced them first with poor white people, then with black people and American-born Latinos, and now they want to replace those with illegal immigrants. Yes, cheap labor. It's also why we sent much manufacturing across the ocean to China. It's cheap. It's cheap stuff. This is bad throughout history. Making people work for pennies on the dollar. Forced enslavement sucks. Stop it. Because it's China. I still say it to this day. I can't help it.
Don't do it. If he suggests, I'd like to have you for dinner, don't go. But these are the people
Yes,
that are
Matt.
coming into our country, and they're coming in at numbers that nobody
Yes.
can believe. Venezuela has its lowest crime rate in 30 years because they're taking their gang members and they're dropping them into Virginia, but you have a governor that's not letting them stay very long. Right? But Joe Biden and the Democrats know this, but they're unwilling to do, for whatever reason. I don't understand, for whatever. You always like to understand the other side or your opponent's reasoning. Why would somebody want open borders? Why would somebody want men playing in women's sports? Why would somebody want 100% electric vehicles and they don't go far? They're too expensive. And you know what? they have a place. Elon is a friend of mine. He probably doesn't like me too much with what I say, but they have a great place for a certain application.
Actually, Elon Musk has come around to you a whole lot. Elon Musk is a supporter at this point. He might not say that publicly, but he has publicly said that the indictment, the conviction is all bullshit. And Elon Musk is very, very, very outspoken. Very outspoken. You took the liberal gem, that guy who makes electric cars and makes them better than everybody. You took the liberal gem and you made him into one who doesn't trust the government, one who doesn't understand why you're trying to censor free speech, and now he's called a Nazi because he purchased Twitter to be free speech, and now he's called a Nazi. It's not a joke. Also, at the same time, he's actually African American because he's born in Africa. He immigrated and became an American citizen. So African American. He's actually African American.
But you don't want 100%. They've made so many. They've spent trillions of dollars on subsidies. You ever notice that the car companies aren't selling cars, but they seem to be very happy? You know why? Because they're getting massive amounts of subsidy from the government. Normally, they'd all be out of business because they're not selling cars. They're making far more electric vehicles than you need. But they do have a place. They have a great place, but it's 9%, 7%, 8%. You have hundreds of thousands of unsold cars. This would be a great time for you to go buy an electric vehicle. But the car companies normally would be losing their shirt. But this stupid, stupid, stupid man that we have is giving massive subsidies. He's given massive subsidies to windmills all over the country that are ruining our beautiful plains, our beautiful land, our beautiful oceans. Whales aren't exactly in love with them. How about in New Jersey, where they had one whale in 50 years that washed up to shore, and last year they had 18. Would you say there's something going on? Little. They had one whale in 50 years. Last year they had 18. That's a lot. And happening more. It does something to them. It drives them crazy. Joe Biden's radical left Democrat Party is now the party of open borders, massive tax hikes, the destruction of Social Security. They are destroying your Social Security because these millions of people are coming in. They're giving them Social Security. Do you believe this? They're destroying it. They're the party of endless wars, weaponization of law enforcement, lies, hoaxes, and corruption. They're corrupt people. The Republican Party is now the party for all Americans because the Republican Party is the party of common sense. Common sense. And in the wake of all these Biden disasters, it's time for our country to finally come together so that our whole nation can win together once again. We're going to win together. We're going to bring our country together with success. Our country, pre-COVID, we had a country that was rocking and rolling like no country in the history of the world. And everybody wanted to come together. It was going to unify. I was getting calls from people that I would have said were radical left, serious radical left, Democrats. They wanted to come. They wanted to have lunch. And then we got the gift from China, COVID, the China virus, as we more accurately call it. And we did a great job. You know,
What is up there, Keeley? Oh, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just continues to do the thing. Matt says Elon has been trying to convince rich liberal donors to back Trump for the last couple of months. I would not be surprised by that one bit. Elon Musk is perhaps in the top 5 of most influential men in the history of modern day. Seriously. Cinema, I wouldn't be surprised. Matt says, laugh out loud, the Democrats are the party of the whale suicide now. I mean, it's funny. I'm just saying, Elon Musk is a modern day Albert Einstein, a modern day Tesla. It's 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 crazy. It's crazy to think this man went from one side to be like going, he's like, hey guys, let's maybe not do the whole censoring of free speech on social media. So I'm gonna buy Twitter because he saw apartheid and stuff like that in South Africa, and then he gets called a Nazi. Well, that changed on a dime, didn't it?
We were recognized for doing great economy. We started no wars. We rebuilt our military. We got the greatest tax cuts in history, greater than the Reagan tax cuts many years before. The greatest, we had the greatest cuts in regulation of any country and of this country. Nobody has even come within 25, 30% of what we did. We cut regulations at a level that nobody ever saw before. And when I went to the big companies and the small companies, and I'd say, which was more important, the biggest tax cuts in history or the biggest regulation cuts in history? I have never heard one person say the tax cuts. They'd say the regulation cuts were more important. People couldn't build. They couldn't do anything. They were just stagnated. We had a case in Louisiana where an LNG plant, it was stuck in 14 years of traffic. They couldn't get their environmental permits. I got them in one day when I came into office, one day. And they built a $15 billion, this is like 3 Empire State Buildings rolled over and put together. This was the longest thing I've ever seen, made up of like all pipes. And I said, what the hell? But it was a $15 billion project, and they couldn't get it done. I got it done in one day. I took all the things. I said, let's get it done. And then we got 2 of the other ones done, and they're doing unbelievable business. And it was foreign money being poured into the United States. They would have never gotten it approved. And we have many such plants, different types, but plants will never get approved. And all they do is produce good things for us and lots of jobs. And in Virginia, we're doing that too. We're working with your government to get a lot of things approved that you thought would never happen. And we'll get them done very, very quickly. But with these guys, you'll never get them done. You'll never get them done. They don't have any clue. All they know is electric. They want electric army tanks. They want electric planes. What happens if the sun isn't shining while you're up in the air? Well, sir, I told you there'd be problems, sir. No, they want electric everything. They want electric boats. The problem, the boats, they don't float because the battery is so...
They want all electric cars in California by 2035. California has what's called brownouts during the summertime because everybody's air conditioning is running. And so there are power surges that literally cut power to neighborhoods. It's called a brownout. So people roast for days on end. No power. But all electric cars in California, are you drinking? Thanks, Gavin. You are scum.
So heavy it sinks the boat. They say, we don't care, we want them anyway. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, young or old, black, brown, or white, we welcome you to our movement and ask for your help and your partnership in making America the strongest, most magnificent country again anywhere in the world. As I said last night, I'm not in this race for me. I'm in this race for the sake of our country. I told him last night, I wish you were a great president. I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't have been indicted more than Al Capone. Al Capone was indicted one time. He was a killer. If he took you, see the guy standing up? See that guy? I don't know who the hell he is, but if Al Capone took him to dinner, he'd say, he's so obnoxious, kill him. He'd say, kill him. He'd be dead, and then
I'm going to stand by this. Joe Rogan has said this for months now. Dude's a comedian. He's a comedian. He's a comedian that makes good points. Real quick. Zilla says, good luck with that. Matt says, they want all electric so that they can hold a generation of electric power over the people. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. If you were to make all cars electric, all stoves electric, all heaters and boilers, dryers electric, you could strip mine and surface area of the size of the Rocky Mountains just to do all electric cars are not possible. The leading innovator of electric vehicles, Elon Musk, says for every American who owns a car in today's world, to own an electric car, the minerals don't exist. They don't exist. Elon Musk, the smartest guy on the planet. Nope. I just don't know. Also, at the same time, they refine these minerals and they mine them in the poorest nations in the country because guess what? They can make the poor people at gunpoint mine them. That's weird. It sounds a little bit like slave labor. But it's not happening here, so it doesn't matter to Gavin Newsom because he's a loser.
Cops were afraid to investigate him. Al Capone did it. I'm not interested in looking at that. He'd be at the bottom of a foundation of a nice big building. And I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone, Scarface. Can you believe it? And it's all been because of Biden. But I said to him, I wish you were the greatest president because I wouldn't have run. I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't. Look, it was rigged. The election was totally rigged, but I wouldn't have run. If he were a great president, I'd say, you know what? If he's doing a great job, that's so important. I wouldn't have run, and I wouldn't have been going through all this stuff. But I wouldn't be here with you, and I'm enjoying this. This is better than sitting home watching television. This is much better. This is better than being on some magnificent island that I own and enjoying the fruits of life. This is much better standing out here at 100-degree weather. Global warming. Every time it turns a little slightly warm, it's global warming. It's global. The planet is going to hell. What about those people that used to say we have 12 years, in which case we're all gone? That ended about 5 years ago. We keep waiting. No,
they all own beachfront property, and I hope he says this right now.
He said last night, you know, he loves this word. It's an existential threat. Existential. He has no idea what the hell the word means. I was going to ask him. But he said it again last night, that global warming is an existential threat. And I say that the thing that's an existential threat is not global warming, where the ocean will rise, maybe, and it may go down also, but it may rise 1/8 of an inch in the next 497 years, they say. 1/8, which gives you a little bit more waterfront property if you're lucky enough to own. No, that's not the threat. You know what the threat is?
Own waterfront property.
That's the threat, Joe Biden. It's a threat. Now, the threat is weaponry. The threat is nuclear weapons, okay? The threat is nuclear warming. That can happen tomorrow. We have 6 countries out there with massive nuclear capability. He doesn't mention it. You know, I watch these people talking about global warming, and they don't use that now. They use climate change because global warming was no good because it was actually getting cooler. So they used to have in the 1920s, you know, they thought the planet was going to freeze. They had a thing, global cooling. They had a picture, I think it was on Time magazine, of the Earth, very cool. In the 1920s, it was a global cooling thing. But now they got smart. It's climate change. Because climate change, if it goes warm, it's good. If it goes cool, it doesn't matter what. If it rains, if it snows, if you have more tornadoes or less tornadoes. You know, I read about some bad tornadoes, and we do have bad tornadoes. But the worst tornado was in 1987. The worst tornado was in the 1800s. They say 1857 ripped the hell out of the country. In 1893, we had a series of tornadoes that made these look like babies. Now, that's only reporting, you know, who knows, but they were very serious.
Also, as somebody who lived in Florida during Hurricane Irma, the most powerful hurricane in the last, 500 years, when it made landfall where I lived in Tampa Bay, it was a Category 1. It blew down some billboards. I'm not talking about the metal, the steel post it's sitting on, you know, the platform. It blew through them, and it blew down fences. And the fences that it blew down were in my apartment complex, so that were already a little rickety as it is. And I was like, the fuck did I leave? The fuck did I drive to New Orleans for? I never, ever, ever after that left for a hurricane coming our direction again. No. It was nonsense. Yeah, but Hurricane Irma, the climate change. Hurricanes are so much stronger. Hurricanes just hurricane. Tornadoes, tornado. It's the weather. And quite frankly, when the dinosaurs were alive, it was hotter than it is now. There was more oxygen than there is now. Human beings probably couldn't actually survive when the dinosaurs were alive because it was more oxygen rich, which means our lungs would be oversaturated and we'd struggle to breathe, and it was hotter and more humid. It's a different planet. This beautiful blue marble that we live on, it changes over time. It has for about 4.6 billion years. So this climate crisis crap, climate change crap is stupid. Barack and Big Mike Obama own beachfront property.
It's cold weather. The risk is
It's called weather. As somebody who was driving back from work today and heard, the National Weather Service. Yeah, yeah, it's just weather. It's weather for the planet.
weaponry. The risk is nuclear warming, and we have to be careful. And we need our smartest people to head this up. My uncle was a professor at MIT, the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, Dr. John Trump. And Dr. John Trump told me many years ago, I was a little boy, just like that beautiful kid over there. I wasn't as good looking as him, but other than that, but I was the same age. And you know what? He told me, I say, what do you mean, Uncle John? No, someday he knew nuclear better than anybody. You know, when he graduated from MIT, they said, would you do us a favor? What? Become a professor. And because he was so smart. And he said, well, I'd like to think about it. But he did. And he was there for 41 years. He's the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He used to tell me about nuclear many years ago when I was a little boy. He said, someday you'll have a bomb that can do destruction, the likes of which nobody can even imagine. And I won't tell you what he said in terms of the power, but he would say just that. And then he'd go into some more details. And I said, no way, Uncle John. No way. No, he said, yes. Yeah.
To add to this, yes, our nuclear bombs of today, the hydrogen bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, our atom bombs are 10 times the magnitude. 10. 10. So I don't give a shit what you think, but no. You want to know how to fuck a planet up? Let's drop a couple of those. 10 times. So the hydrogen bomb literally, or do I have it flipped? Anyway, our nuclear bombs of today are 10 times more powerful than the ones dropped on cities, on a city, destroyed a city. 10 times more powerful. You're taking out a part of a state. You're taking out a chunk of a state.
Yes, that will be. And he
And
was
Russia
very
ha-
worried about it.
And Russia has more. So why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep poking? Why did we just pledge? And this is on Joe Biden's administration, by the way. $887 billion, almost $1 trillion over the next 10 years to Ukraine, because again, we're poking the bear, which is it's just to poke the bear. Why? We have many nuclear bombs, thousands upon thousands. He has thousands upon thousands, plus a little bit more. What are we doing? What are we doing? Stop it. Stop it. He's the only one who, I mean, literally, this man is the only one who says, I want to stop it. Why do people need to keep dying? This is stupid. It's dumb. Stop it. I said this last night. The Donbass region in Crimea were literally taken by Russia in 2014 under Barack Obama. And the majority of the citizens there identify themselves as Russian. They don't care. They don't care. Leave the rest of Ukraine alone. All Vladimir Putin said, Ukraine doesn't, I get to keep the things that I've had since 2014, Barack Obama. I get to keep those things because those citizens want to be with us. And then Ukraine never joins NATO. And we'll go home. What do our politicians and the head of NATO do? They're like going, I don't know, bro. I don't think I can do that. Are you drinking? Are you high? This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Stop it. But we elect idiots in all countries. We put these people at the head, and they're like, "On well, oh no, man! Like, oh, we could make a lot of money off this conflict. Like, on y'all, all we got to do is this a couple of times, and then we'll make billions." Yeah, stop it. Get some help. I need to upload that as a thing. Thank you, Zillage. Like, the only guy who's like going, he's like, I'm sorry. Why do we keep fighting this pointless war, sending billions upon billions? We're at over 200 billion, by the way, for the Ukraine. And I'm not a Russian, so I'm not a Russian person. Like, I'm not a supporter of Vladimir Putin. He sucks. He's a dictator. But if you kick a dictator in the nuts, what did you think was going to happen? Roses and kittens?
That's your threat, and we don't even talk about it. We never even met. Can you imagine this guy saying global warming is the greatest threat to our country? Global warming is fine. In fact, I heard it was going to be very warm today. It's fine. It's fine. I believe that, and we were united. I'll tell you, during that period of time, just prior to COVID coming in, I was with Tony Fabrizio and John McLaughlin, two of the great pollsters, and there are good pollsters. You know, we have a lot of fake pollsters, like we have a lot of fake news. They are fake news in a sense. But by the way, did you see, we had a poll last week, Rasmussen, which is a good poll. That's only good because I like them. You know, they happen to be good. If they were bad like 2 months from now, I'd say they're terrible. But the Rasmussen poll is a big deal. It's a really good poll, and they have us up 10 points on this guy, 10 points. That's pretty good. And a friend of mine who's very smart, but he's not really into politics, he said, could I ask you a question? Why is 10 points good? You mean he's going to get 40 points? I said, you have to understand the Democrats basically get 40 points. It doesn't matter. If this lectern was running for office, it would get 40. Actually, Joe, that's true. They get 40 automatically. The Republicans have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to earn it. We have to do like in 2016. We have to do really like 2020. You know, we got many millions of more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. We did actually much better. But it was rigged. What are you going to do? But you know what? We're not going to let that happen again. We're not letting that happen. They used COVID to cheat. They did everything possible to cheat. And Hillary Clinton said, why didn't you do that to me? Why didn't you find those votes for me like you found for Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Oh, ready? Poll. What's a better name? I go Crooked Joe first, and then Crooked Joe Biden or Sleepy Joe Biden. Ready? Crooked Joe first. Who likes Crooked Joe Biden first? Okay. Who likes Sleepy Joe Biden? Similar. Okay, let's do it again. Crooked Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden. Crooked. The other time, last week I did that. You know, I like saving money. You go to these pollsters, they interview. I don't even think they interview them, if you want to know the truth. I think they just say they interview because they make money. I don't even think they interview them. But they say they interview like 243 people and they tell you what's going to happen with the race, right? And then they want to charge you $500,000. Politicians know this. And I come to these rallies and I do my own polls. We have 25,000 people or something here today. I get a free poll. It's a free poll. Okay.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna show Joe Biden a clip from Joe Biden's rally later. It's like AOC's rally was a joke. And they had like hundreds of people there, but like 600 people. Oh, it's so terrible. Yeah, AOC went to the Bronx. She got like Donald Trump got like 100,000. It's embarrassing. This is embarrassing at this point.
Here's another one. Who likes Governor Glenn Youngkin?
That's the narrative.
That's the end of that. I don't know who to put against him because there's nobody going to win. Anyway, well, you're right. But we were a truly united country, and I believe that we can be a very great country again. It's going to be stronger. It's going to be more glorious. It's going to be better than ever. We're going to make our country better than ever. Our mission must start with restoring safety to America, one of the most disturbing lies out of Crooked Joe's mouth. In our debate last night was when he denied anything having to do with the border. Anything having to do with the border. He said the border is such a lovely place, letting massive numbers of terrorists pour into our country. Just 2 days ago, news reports revealed that while Biden was taking his 10-day rest and study period, it was a rest and study. Where is he going to be? I love Camp David, by the way. I'm not a rustic person. I don't love rustic look, but I loved it. You had to see this place. I started to love it. Very seductive. You go up these log cabins. They're so beautiful, the best. And I'd see FDR, pictures of FDR and pictures of the great presidents. And it was so historic and so incredible. But I'm not sure he has any idea what the history is. He just likes a log cabin. He wants to lock himself in. He wants a place to sleep, okay? Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I want to sleep. I'm studying for the debate. I want to sleep and study. That's all I'm going to do for 10 days while the world is going to hell. But he had a study period at Camp David while more than 50 terrorists, 55 to be exact, were running into the United States after Biden allowed them to cross our wide open southern border. Crooked Joe has no idea where they are, what kind of slaughter they intend to commit, but you will bet anything. ISIS terrorists, 55 of them last week. ISIS terrorists, the worst in the world. By the way, I defeated ISIS, you know that, with General Cain, right? Raisin Cain, you know that story, Raisin Cain.
The media is going to run with this one, but like going, 50 ISIS terrorists, but you defeated ISIS? Yeah, you can defeat the majority of ISIS. An ideology lives on. It's kind of like the fact that men can compete in women's sports. It's mostly defeated, but it still comes up, right? That's the same thing. But our media is fucking retarded. You have CNN, MSNBC, they literally smell their own farts, and they're fucking retarded.
He was great general, real general, not the television. We have a lot of television generals, they're no good. Like Milley. How about Milley? We had some, like the dumbest of them all, General Kelly. He didn't know. He was lost in the White House. That poor guy didn't know what the hell was happening. He was like we used to call him a lost soul. Under the Trump administration, we will not rest until we have found every single radical Islamic terrorist who Joe Biden has let into America. We will arrest them or we will throw them the hell out of our country immediately, and we will not let them back in. We have no choice. And already Biden's open border nightmare has stolen countless innocent lives. Yesterday in Houston, you read about this. 12-year-old Jocelyn Nunguri was laid to rest by her grieving mother, who I spoke to yesterday, incredible woman, just devastated. Literally, I was going up to the debate, and I got the return call from the mother. And I talked to her, and they're screaming at me, "Sir, you're going to the debate. You're going right now, sir." You know, and I'm on the phone, and I said, "I can't, I might be late." But that's okay. But I said I will. I did talk to her, and then I said, "I'll speak to you," and I'm going to call her today or tomorrow. A devastated person. She was a devastated person, but her precious daughter became yet another victim of the Biden migrant crime. People that would have never come in here. In fact, a lot of these people that you're reading about, we threw them out. They were gone, and they came back under Biden. Last week, Jocelyn was savagely tied up, viciously assaulted, and brutally murdered by two Biden migrants who Crooked Joe released into the United States to prey on our women and girls. One of these monsters waited just 20 days before ending Jocelyn's beautiful American life. Crooked Joe proved last night he has no regret, no remorse, had no idea who she was, no empathy and no compassion for all the innocent victims whose lives have been just absolutely destroyed. And you look at so many of the other young people that you're hearing about, so many of them are young, 13, 12, raped and killed. 13 years old, 12 years old, raped and killed. And remember this, I say this a lot, this is just starting because they're just getting comfortable in the country. They never heard about politically correct law enforcement. We have the greatest police in the world, but they're not allowed to do their job. And we're going to let them do their job. And we're going to give them immunity.
I have a huge gripe with politically correct police. A friend of mine in a country with the politically correct police was threatened with a deadly weapon. And the police said, "You know what? We don't have the time." Hold on. No. Hold on. Are you fucking kidding me? You don't have the time? Are you drinking? Well, I mean, we can't do it because it might be racist. No, fuck that. This is a legitimate thing. Politically correct police literally makes my blood boil. I was a cop. I wasn't I wasn't politically correct. I was professional. You do your job. You do the damn job. You protect the citizens of your city, your county, your state. You do it, and you do it fucking now. Somebody threatens them with a weapon, guess what? Motherfuckers getting rounded motherfucking up. You're getting rounded up, and you're probably going to fight, and you're going to get boot stomped a little bit because you deserve it. Threatening people with weapons. Are you shitting me? Well, we don't have the time for that. You're lucky it didn't happen in America around me. You threaten somebody with a weapon around me, and I'm strapped. I'm gonna blow your face off. There's gonna be a fucking hole in the center of your head, and it's gonna be small here, and it's gonna blow your brains out. And I said it, yes. I said it proudly. Fuck you. Fuck people who prey on others. Predators, fuck you. All right, I'm done. Ugh. Politically correct police crap. I can't do it. I can't do it. Looking at you, Europe. What you doing? What you doing lately? Faggots.
Immunity so they can't be prosecuted for doing their job. Joe Biden inherited a great border because I fixed it. Remember, I fixed it in 2016. I got
Also, real quick, I kind of went on. I went on a rant, not saying all the police in all the European countries, which most of it's a mess. There are some police officers in those countries that want to do things. They can't because their leadership, their state government, I'm sorry, their government will not let them. That's why the United States is the way to be. The federal government gets to regulate certain things to protect the borders of our country, but the states regulate themselves, and the power of the states is more powerful than the federal government. This is why Germany sucks. This is why the UK sucks. This is why France sucks. But yes, Zillage, thank you so much. I said baguettes because I do love me some baguettes. Baguettes are delicious. Ariel says, hello, Ryan. Did Shock send you the meme I made him make? Yes, he did. It was a long day. I didn't get a chance to edit the intro. I will make sure. I promise I will make sure to get I will put that in the intro from now on. That was so funny. Also at the same time, bullying Shock. Nice. I like that. I like your method there. But yes, again, baguettes, YouTube, are so good. I love me all the baguettes. All the baguettes. I'm just fucking around now. Shut up.
got elected because of the border. But that border was nothing compared to what we have. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I fixed it. It was a big deal. And I would say it was probably one or two in terms of my points that I had a lot of things. But the border was a big deal. It was a bad border. I fixed it. So much so that I couldn't even speak about it during the 2020 race because nobody cared about it anymore because it was fixed. So he inherited a perfect border, and he proceeded to destroy it almost immediately. He destroyed it at a level that nobody can even believe, but many times worse than it was in 2016. I'd love, I have a chart. I don't know if these guys don't know about this, but I have a chart that if they could find it, put it up, because there's one little stat on this chart. Oh, wow. These guys have become good. It used to take a day to get that chart. They'd say, sir, we'll have it up tomorrow. I said, tomorrow's not going to help me, Glenn. So you see the arrow, Glenn, on the bottom. See the arrow, the big red arrow on the bottom. That's the lowest level of illegal immigration ever in recorded history right there. That's the week that I left office. And look what happened after that. Look at the numbers on the right. Look at what happened after that. So that was the lowest level, and then it started marching upward. But what you don't see are the drugs. We're at the lowest level in 32.
We have seen this chart on previous live streams, so it literally shows the fact that illegal crossings are low, and then all of a sudden, after a certain president leaves, and the migrants themselves, the ones walking here, remember the migrant caravan? They said, "Well, we come here because Joe Biden." Like, great. So, never mind. I mean, it's a thing. They were interviewed. There's a thing about it. No, we come here because Joe Biden says we can.
2 years, the human trafficking, mostly in women. They traffic.
Yes. And fentanyl. Yes. Trafficking humans, women, children. And the fentanyl that kills many Americans. I think it's roughly about what is it, like 100,000 Americans a month died of fentanyl? Something crazy. What is up, Andy? Says, hey, I'm walking here. Yeah, you are.
In women, And that's now back at a level that we've never even seen or imagined before. But I love that chart. You know, that chart is just a small chart in with other numbers like poll numbers and things that are so impressive, even fundraising. You know, we raised more money after this crooked trial than we've ever raised, I think, than any candidate. I think we raised over $400 million. Can you believe it?
Andy said about 3K a year, so that would roughly break down to somewhere in the neighborhood of what, 30? No, about 24.5 thousand fentanyl. You know, it's a lot. And Ariel says, was there another caravan during Trump's reign? But he basically told Mexico to not let this happen or some major economic. There was I don't think I don't think there was a caravan. There was a migrant situation, which remain in Mexico was a thing. The very large migrant caravan happened under Joe Biden after Trump left. And I mean, you're talking about what the thing. What did they say that caravan was, like 300 miles long of people just caravanning through? It was huge. Yeah, Ariel, for the next stream, I will try to actually look that up. Andy says still a lot. Well, yeah. Yes, 3,000 deaths a year is literally somewhere in the neighborhood of like 24,000 a month. To fentanyl, which comes from China, and the cartels distribute and something wrong I gotta stop doing that. Somebody subbed to my Legion Talk channel because I did a video about the acolyte, and I was like going, something wrong, we too low, and it's like, oh shit. All right, here we go. Whoa.
I would say if we did 10 million, it would be a lot during this period. 10 million's a lot of money. They raised over $400 million during this very short period of time, a little period of time. If we would have done like 8 or 9 or 10, it would have been great. But they did numbers that no, because everyone knows they're a bunch of crooked people. These are crooked people using justice to try and win an election. But I'm proud of that chart. It was in with other things that are very important. But there's something about the importance of this that I really thought we could show it. And sometimes we'll take it out, show it to some of these big crowds. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of American suburbs, cities, and towns. And for the suburban women, who I actually think vote for me, I think that's, they say.
They are now.
They say the suburban women. What, you saw Biden, you like Biden? Yeah. The suburban women. You know why they like me? Because I'm going to keep them safe. I'm going to keep them safe. We're going to keep them safe. And I think it's fake. I think we do great with suburban women, but I always read, he's trying to get the suburban women. No, I think they like me because I'm going to keep them safe. Militarily and also from the standpoint of borders and everything else. We will shut down deadly sanctuary cities. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. And on day one, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And we have no choice. Have no choice.
Also, real quick, on the deportations, it's not people who've been here for 10 years and they have a family, they've been working hard for 10 years. They're working Americans now. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the people who have come over here over the last 2-3 years, just have invaded like it's going out of style. Not everybody, but the people who commit murders, the people who commit crimes, like going, oh, you're from Venezuela? Well, you know what? You beat up that old Chinese man, so guess what? Your ass is going back. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Real quick, Andy Pickles says there was a surge during Trump's term. That's why he negotiated for Mexico to police their much smaller southern border as he enacted remain in Mexico. Okay. But nothing to the scale that we're talking about in today's world. So Andy says when Trump and others start calling it an invasion, the libs took the opposite stance of yes, they did. Well, because they're Soros. They're Soros far leftists. Again, George Soros, a billionaire, he has an open world policy. As in, everybody is free to flit about and do whatever they want. And quite frankly, not convict people for crimes. Let me do this. George Soros is a Jew. His uncle made him call himself a Christian so the Nazis would not round him up. And him and his uncle went around rounding up the Jews. As a young boy, he helped round up the Jews. No, I'm not joking. So George Soros openly, as a Jew, pretended to be Christian and rounded up Jews for Nazi Germany. He's a Nazi. And now he has billions upon billions of dollars, and he uses it to fuck this country up. It's weird that someone who helped the Nazis is funding screwing this country up so bad. The one that defeated Nazi Germany in the Third Reich, it's almost poetic or intentional. You decide. Yes, George Soros is a Jew that became a Nazi. Where'd he get all that money? I don't know. The Nazis stole billions, by the way. Just saying.
And as we discussed last night with Crooked Joe, the Biden border invasion has also been a disaster. And I say it, and I'll say it again, for the African American, Hispanic American communities more than anybody else. Virtually all of the net jobs created have gone to Biden migrants. Who would think that? I heard that a week ago. I said, you got to give me that stat. Almost every job, did you know that? It's hard to believe, actually. Almost every new job has gone to illegal immigrants. Joe Biden wants to be the president for illegal aliens, and I want to be the president for Americans of every background, every walk of life, every race, religion, color, and creed. And remember, Joe Biden used the term super predators. He used it for 10 years. He used it more than anybody else. That's not a man that likes black people. I will tell you, that's not a man. Super predator. Ask him about it. I brought it up last night. He went, oh. Super predator, ask him. And honestly, only black people know what that term represents. 1990s, Joe Biden, super predator for 10 years. Every day, more African Americans and Hispanic Americans are joining our movement, and that's one of the major reasons that we're going to win the Commonwealth of Virginia this fall. And our case to Virginia is very simple. We will seal the border. We will make the American dream affordable again, but we will bring back the American dream, something you don't hear about anymore. You're going to have the American dream back. Working with your great governor, Glenn Youngkin, we will make Virginia greater than it has ever been before. Under my leadership, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. That was proven time and time again. During my term, we had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon. And by the way, take a look at gasoline. It's going up rapidly. Do you see what's going on? That's going up. And by the end, the 30-year mortgage, think of this, was 2.6%. It was 2.6% interest. And you know what it is now?
Hold on. I need to comment on this. In Colorado, I heard it. I heard a car dealership. I heard a car dealership advertisement. If you have excellent credit, you can finance a vehicle for 4.99%, 5% interest if you have excellent credit. Are you fucking high? 5%? Holy shit. Guess what? Under our previous thing, under a previous individual, it was 1.99%, 2%, 5%. Donald Trump, 2% interest. Financing a car. Joe Biden, 5%. They're like going, well, I mean, well, come on, man. Real quick, Andy says Soros also screwed up the British pound to the amount that they are still paying him to this day for the debt he forced on them. I don't think that's the British. No, actually, I take that back. I think it is the British pound. Yes, it's true. It's true. George Soros has so much billions of dollars that he can actually dump currency. He can literally destroy a nation. What do you think that somebody who helped a Nazi, his uncle, as a Jew, round up the Jews? Where do you think he got his billions? It's not. I guarantee it's not from starting a company. Has anybody heard of a company that George Soros actually started? Where did he get his money? Oh, or maybe is it Nazi gold that was stolen? Also, at the same time, there's still Nazi gold in the Swiss bank, the Swiss National Bank. Yes, and nobody is allowed to see it. Nobody's allowed to look at it. You can be a journalist. You can be a documentarian. No government is allowed to. No, it's not stolen by the Swiss. No, it's stolen by the Nazis. But because Switzerland was neutral, there are pallets upon pallets upon pallets. It probably rivals Fort Knox. Might be bigger because nobody's allowed to see it. In the Swiss National Bank. I wonder where George Soros got his money. He didn't invent anything. He just all of a sudden came about and he rode the wave. And he's fucking up our country. I'm just saying. The country that ultimately defeated the Nazi Third Reich. It's weird that somebody who, again, helped the Nazis is literally destroying our country out from underneath us, within. The enemy comes from within. That's a real thing. Because we are a free society that we had welcomed people in, yes, Chinese immigrants going to school in our universities. Many were found out to be Chinese spies. This is not conjecture, which is really sad. Ugh. So, all right. Ariel says bullshit. I bet the Switzerland gold holdings is larger than a Fort Knox. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Actually, yeah, you kind of fact checked me, and Yeah, pretty much. Oh, Chinese students? Thought you were gonna say train track builders. Train track builder? Oh, oof. That's true too. That was that was more the early 1800s. Yeah, we used Chinese immigrants to look, and I'm not saying that's a proud moment. It's not. It sucks. But every country that has ever been established in the history of the world has used slave labor to some sort of point. But that being said, we're not here for that. Yeah. Yeah, Andy says all kind of bad business, you know, allowed in America, which are all illegal around the world. Yeah, current day China is trying to has successfully bought farmland and continues to try to buy land close to military bases because, I mean, why not? If the United States went to China and said, we would like to buy that land there, Mr. Rich American man, and it's very close to a military base, they go, no, 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 no. All right.
Now, it's 10%, but you can't get the money. So the American dream of owning a house is impossible. When I left office, inflation was almost nothing. How about this guy going around saying it was 9%? No, it was 9% when he didn't enter. About 14 months after he got in, he had to go from almost nothing to 9%. But he had a period where he had what they call the Trump float. He had all the good things, including the bounce back jobs that they took. They said all these.
Every administration has that, right? There's a negative to a positive or a positive to a negative. It takes roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5, 6, maybe 9 months. Um, so again, let's say that Donald Trump is elected and sworn in January 2025. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take 5 months, 6 months, maybe 8 months, 9 months. But then all of a sudden, you're going to see go like this. And that's what Joe Biden has been riding on ever since his election 3 years ago. They're like going, oh, we've created the most jobs in the history of the world. Well, ugh. One of your lackeys, Anthony Fauci, who has been around since the AIDS epidemic, quite frankly, killed a lot of AIDS people with his bullshit, said we must mask, we must shut the economy down. No going to mom and pop stores. These losers, they shut down small businesses, like going to grandma's grocery with 8 employees was going to spread the coof. But next door, you could go to Walmart and you could buy groceries. Like, are you serious? You know why? It's because these loser leftists, they support the businesses that support them. The ones that put flags in bios, the ones that say, um, you know, trans women are women. It's like going, no, not really. No. Literally yesterday we saw a giant push from AMD. No, I'm not joking. AMD and Elgato. AMD and Elgato on Twitter. I'm sorry, not Twitter. Instagram. Were pushing drag queens streaming. They're like going, if you support this, and it's like going, well, guess what? I have an Elgato capture card. I've had it for a couple of years now. Not buying another one. You can fuck off. The previous computer to the two of these It was an AMD. It was an AMD graphics processor and an AMD PCU processor. They did the same thing. I said, well, guess what? Guess I'm an Intel guy now. Both computers are Intels. Joke's on you. Fuck off. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you want to identify to be. As long as you're not breaking the law and you're not infringing on other people's rights or hurting other people, go nuts. Go nuts. But this bullshit from these woke corporations pushing this nonsense. Gee whiz, I wonder why. I wonder why.
Pandemic jobs, we said close it down, do it.
And again, you know, mom and pops stores, you know, they didn't survive. Walmart's still here. McDonald's is still here. McDonald's was allowed to be open. It's weird. Isn't it?
Whatever you want, and then when it opens, they're called bounce back jobs, and they bounce back to bigger than where it was before. He takes the credit for it. You don't take credit for a bounce back. Joe Biden accidentally admitted last night, quote, there was no inflation when I became president. He made a mistake. That was where I said, did you mean that, Joe? You mean you're... Now, Virginia families are being crushed by Crooked Joe. You can't afford groceries, rent, a house, a car payment, or anything else. I think your real rate of inflation, by the way, they say 24, 25%. I think if you really add the right items and you include interest where you can't get a mortgage, but if you do, you're going to pay much more than 10%. I think your rate of inflation is 35 to 50%, and that's killing this country. It's a country buster. It's a family buster. It's busting up everything. We have the highest inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. In fact, Biden didn't have inflation for the first, so he didn't have it for many, many months because I gave him something that was beautiful. I gave him a clean, beautiful border. All he had to do is leave Tom Homan and leave these great people, you know, Brandon Judd, great. Oh, and he had a news conference today because Biden last night used his name in vain. He said, I never supported Biden and I never would. He said, I support Trump. I don't support Biden. He has no support. He doesn't have support from one police group anywhere in the country. Frankly, he's a defunder. If you want to know, defund the police. That's another brilliant policy that they have. And then like a nightmare, it all began. But on day one of my new administration, we will throw out Bidenomics and we will replace it. We are going to replace it with Maganomics. We're Maganomics.
I like that.
Maganomics. To stop Bidenflation, I will end Joe Biden's colossal waste of American taxpayer dollars, and I will rapidly terminate a thing called the Green New Scam. It's the greatest scam in the history of our country. We're spending trillions and trillions of dollars on nonsense, on things that all they do is cause waste and inflation. I will repeal every disastrous Biden regulation. He's adding them back as fast as he can, killing our jobs. Cancel Crooked Joe's insane electrical, think of it, the electric vehicle mandate. It's called the EV mandate. And we will do something like we've never done it before, although we did it pretty good 5 years ago. You know, 5 years ago, we were totally non-reliant on oil and gas from other countries. We were going to soon be energy dominant. We were going to be sending it out to Europe, all over the world. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. And then this guy ended it. Then prices went up and he started saying, oh, let him drill, let him drill. But if this election went bad, our country is going to be destroyed. But they will go back to that policy on the day after it opens up. And you're going to have electric bills that will be triple what they are now. Because when we get in, we're going to have a very simple phrase. We will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were energy independent. Now we're begging Venezuela, one of the safest places on earth. It's true. Though their crime rate is down to the lowest that they've ever had. Their crime rate is down 72% because they've taken all of their criminals, they've taken all of their prisoners, they've taken all of their drug lords, drug dealers, they've taken all of their gang members and brought them to the United States of America. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody. And they brought them in, so their crime rate is, what do you have here? The crime is down 72%. They've taken their criminals and they deposited, and then they just got up 2 weeks ago and said, under no circumstances will we take any of them back. So here's what we're going to do. Next year, we're all going to meet as a group, and if this guy, it's not even conceivable that he's in. I hate to even want to suggest it. Let's say in a few months we'll do this. We're going to meet again. We're going to meet in Venezuela because it's the safest place on earth. You know, in Caracas, a year ago, 2 years ago, you had no chance of walking across the street if you were a woman without being accosted, beat up, shot, knifed to death. Now it's a very safe city because they've moved everybody into the United States of America. How stupid are we? How stupid are we? And their crime rate's way down. And all over the world, the prison populations are down. And the fake news, look at them all over back there. The fake news doesn't want to talk about it. They say Donald Trump has a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not conspiracy. And by the way, if I were one of the presidents or dictators, as I call them, most of them are dictators, but they go under the term president. But I know them all very well. I would have been doing better than them. I would have had 100% over in this country by now. They're emptying their prisons. You know what that is? They're emptying their mental institutions into our country. Do you know the money they save? The money is massive. And we have all the problems. Nothing good is going to come out. And we have ISIS terrorists. We have terrorists pouring into our country. Just bad, bad things are going to happen. And it's all because of this incompetent president, the worst president in history. If he gets back in, Joe Biden has also vowed to pulverize Virginia families with the largest tax hikes in history. Congratulations. He pledged that the Trump tax cuts are, quote, going to expire, and if I'm elected, it's going to stay expired. That means he's going to raise your taxes by 4 times. It's going to be the largest. You know that, Len. He wants to give you the largest tax increase in the history of our country. It's going to decimate Virginia, and it's going to decimate every state, and it's not his fault. You'll have to take the heat. Maybe that's what they're doing. You'll have to take the heat. But they want to decimate because those tax cuts went more to the middle class and the lower class than to anybody else and the creation of jobs. But instead of a Biden tax increase, I will deliver a Trump and call it a Trump middle class tax cut. And all of my life, I said it last night, I've watched as politicians cut taxes. This guy wants to raise your taxes by 4 times, and people say, oh, let's vote for him. I don't know. They don't use the term liberal anymore. They use the term progressive, you know, because it's a nice-sounding word. I'm a progressive. But it's not a good word. It's a really bad word. And we will have a brand-new Trump economic boom. We're going to cut taxes. So we cut taxes substantially, massively, the biggest tax. And with a lower rate, we did much more business, much more revenue than we had before the cuts. In other words, we just did better. And Apple and Microsoft, all these companies were bringing their money back from offshore countries, from other countries. They were bringing it back into the United States because they essentially weren't allowed to from a practical standpoint because the tax was so high and the bureaucracy of doing it was almost impossible, they say. So we're going to do more tax cutting. And we're going to have this country at a level that you've never seen it before. And we're going to, you know, underfoot, under the ground, we have more liquid gold, oil and gas than any country on earth. And, you know, we had a thing called ANWR in Alaska. Ronald Reagan wanted to get it approved. He couldn't do it. Everybody wanted to get it approved. I got it approved. The first week of Biden, they disapproved it. The greatest reserves, they say, outside of perhaps Saudi Arabia, could be greater than Saudi Arabia, would have been so great for Alaska, but would have been great for this country. Massive, massive oil reserves, and they turned it down. These people are horrible. I've announced that as part of those tax cuts, I will eliminate all taxes on tips. A very simple statement. No taxes or tips. I got that idea the other night. I'm in Las Vegas at my place, which is a very nice place, having dinner with some people, big people, successful people, talking about the future of the country, and they're very worried about it. And the waitress came over. I said, how are you doing? Been there for a long time. And she said, they're killing me on tips. I said, really? They go after. He said, you have no idea. They just issued new regulations that make it impossible for us to live. And I was actually surprised to hear it. No taxes on tips. And when I announced that last week, you know, my phone's lit up. I never saw anything like that. That was a very popular thing to announce, but it's a good thing. You earn the money, you keep the money. Every time you leave a tip for the next 5 months, make sure to write on the receipt, vote for Trump for no taxes on tips. So,
All right. I hate to do this, guys. I'm probably going to have to cut this in half. It's been a long week. Transitioning, not medically or sexually, to new ventures. So I'm thinking tomorrow morning. What would it be? Probably it would be 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will finish this. Yeah, it's one of those things that, guys, I'm hurting. It's been a busy week, but I will answer questions real quick. God damn it. Laugh out loud. Ryan comes out on stream. I fucking hate you all. No, I don't. I really don't. Okay. All right. Here we go. Andy says Congress is no longer the legislative branch. They are a spending branch. That's true. All they do, other than reverse each other's decisions, is spend unheard amounts of money, unsupported money, mass printed. That's true. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. It's fine. He says, can you imagine the inflation rate? They were expanding the digital currency by adding zeros to the total currency with the keystroke. That's what they're doing. They're like going, hey, how about $60 billion to Ukraine? 60 billion. That's what they're doing. Ariel says, thought there's a question. Should we be actually pointing the finger to Biden, or is it the people around him that's causing most of this? And he's going to be basically the fall. He is the fall guy. Joe Biden is the fall guy. He is a dementia-ridden old man. He doesn't know where he is. It's elder abuse. It's a felony. And quite frankly, the loser staffers should all be convicted, because they're like going, come on, Joe. Well, we got ice cream for you after the speech. No, fuck these people. I don't like Joe Biden, but you're abusing an elderly man who doesn't fucking know where he is. Convict all of them for elder abuse, including the interns. Fuck you. Fuck you all. You suck. You propagandist bitches. Again, Zilla says the wording. Yeah, I know. Ryan is transitioning to streamers to let them know. God damn it. Ryan ends the show early to transition. That's true. Just cut the show. Not anything you might miss later. No. I want look, I'm tired, but I want to be thorough. So we'll do a part 2. It's all good and hood. I like doing this, but when I kind of reach my limit, I'm like, guys, I gotta go. Let's pick this up tomorrow, or like maybe the day after. It's usually tomorrow. Elders abuse. Yeah. Arrow says his wife seems like she is wanting him to be in the White House so she doesn't have to leave. Well, yeah. She's one of the biggest propagandists in his inner circle. Dr. Jill Biden. She's not a doctor of shit. She's not even as well known as Dr. Pepper. She was given an honorary doctorate in education, and she's stupid. I mean, it's just sad at this point. I don't get it. I don't understand why. Last night I saw him. He looked like a whipping boy. Just speak, speak, speak. And it's like, oh, okay. And these people are cool with it. The Biden administration is good with it. They're like, "Oh, keep speaking, old man. Shut up." It's like poking a dinosaur, literally a dinosaur with a fucking probe. And every once in a while, you get a, it's it's sad. It's disgusting. Yeah, no, Andy. It's I know the story. She is the basically the second wife. Her story is that they met after Brandon's wife's passing. I heard that she babysat his kids before she had the accident. Okay. I didn't know that last part. Ariel says, well, that one's spot at the end and where Jill was screaming out how Trump lied, the poor Biden was standing there like I didn't want to be there. Okay. Also, Ariel, how are you doing? You doing okay? We know that you were having some issues. You don't have to put them out publicly. Just, DM me on Twitter at LG2076 News. She said, I am doing good. Okay. All right, good. Well, I'm illiterate, so fuck it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. My soundboard is on the wall. Quite frankly, I'm 6'4" and I have 3-foot monkey arms. I'm gonna have to find a new place for that. But what we're gonna do is, again, for the last time, we are going to play the intro for the outro. There will be new material next time you see this, because provided by Ariel. Bullying Cloud. You bullied Cloud. He's such a gentle soul. Ariel, you bigot. I'm just kidding.
Hey, man, it's 911. I mean, here, little Megalo Mark, man, they go, boom, man, there's a fire, and it don't, that gum, that come out everywhere, man. I don't know, saw Nick, man, run out there. I don't know if he did, Chuck, man, Joni gonna be come down here.
Sir, you are going to have to speak more slowly. I cannot understand you.
Dang, Megalo Mark, that talk about them old, that it, boom.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
Do caca poo poo. Hop pee pee.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better, Mentos fresh. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.